On July 11, 1804, in New Jersey, Alexander Hamilton and Aaron Burr participated in a duel that ultimately ended Hamilton's life and changed Burr's legacy. In politics, their differences can be traced back to the New York gubernatorial election of 1789, where they supported separate candidates. Burr then became state Attorney General of New York until 1791, when he was elected senator, replacing Philip Schuyler, who happened to be Hamilton's father-in-law. And though Burr and Hamilton were political opponents, they maintained a professional relationship. They were outwardly polite to one another. Burr viewed Hamilton as a political opponent and a respected colleague at the bar, and on the other hand, Hamilton looked at Burr with deep distrust and even distaste. Hamilton helped sway the 1801 presidential election that bled over into 1801. Burr and Thomas Jefferson tied with the same amount of electoral votes, and Hamilton became even more outspoken in his opposition of Aaron Burr, helping sway the ensuing political procedure, thus electing Thomas Jefferson as president. The two sources I found on America's historical imprints focus on Alexander Hamilton, Aaron Burr, and their famous 1804 duel. The first source is entitled Particulars of the Late Duel Fought at Hoboken, July 11, 1804, between Aaron Burr and Alexander Hamilton. It consists of letters between Aaron Burr, Alexander Hamilton, William P. Van Ness, and Nathaniel Pendleton. First-hand accounts from the duel and also the verdict from the jury of inquest that followed are included in this source. The documents in this first source come about as a result of a letter that was published in the Albany Register from Charles Cooper to Philip Schuyler. And Cooper also says he could describe in detail a, quote, still more despicable opinion which General Hamilton has expressed of Mr. Burr at a political dinner. The letters in this source include the back and forth between the men as Burr wants to know what was said, demands an apology, and Hamilton demands that Burr be more specific. He stands by his political opinions, does not acknowledge the, quote, despicable opinion that was shared, and if his answers do not satisfy Mr. Burr and he must abide the consequences, then he will. The second source is a sermon given by Hezekiah Woodruff in New York on August 12, 1804, about a month after the duel that claimed Hamilton's life, entitled The Danger of Ambition Considered. He uses 2 Samuel chapter 3 as his text, discussing how Saul and Jonathan were killed in battle, how Judah and Israel were divided, how David is made king over Judah with his commander of the army being Joab, and how Abner, who was commander of Saul's army, continues to fight for Israel. And then when Abner tries to make peace and unify the kingdom, Joab kills him. Woodruff argues that when ambition becomes a reigning passion, the safety and happiness of individuals and the peace and tranquility of a nation are endangered. And he says when this is the case, weeping and lamentation are the duty of both the nation and the people. Without calling them by name, he shows how this 2 Samuel chapter 3 principle played out in America through the Hamilton-Burr relationship and duel. He compares Burr to Joab, Hamilton to Abner, shows how individuals have been harmed, the peace and tranquility of the nation are endangered, and now how the country is in mourning. These sources would help in the classroom to teach history as inquiry and interpretation. It would help them establish historical significance of those documents and the events being studied. It would also help them analyze cause and consequence. Was this duel the result of a comment made at a political dinner, or was it the buildup of a career's worth of political disagreement? Those types of questions. It would also allow a way for students to look at historical events with a Christian-specific viewpoint. Students could try to find the comparison points between the duel and the story in 2 Samuel chapter 3. And in the process, information literacy competencies are achieved, discovering and evaluating information to accomplish specific purpose, communicating information effectively, and others as well.